Well, what's up again, guys? Brian here at 3TR, here to bring you another solid episode of my weekly Q&A show, The People's Questions. Before I begin, I would like to thank all of you out there that sent in a really awesome collection of questions. Not too short, but not too long, and that's exactly how I like it. So, jumping into the first two questions coming from a regular of mine going by the name of the Oldie Boy 123. And you want to know, am I a fan of Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic? No. And since you made a little note here that if I had said yes, it would continue on, I'm just going to end the question right there. Your second question is, do I think Star Wars Battlefront will live up to the expectations that we all have for it? Do I think it'll live up to it? I think there's a slight possibility. I mean, we have been disappointed with games in the recent past of games really not living up to the hype. So really all I'm expecting from Battlefront is to at least be on par with the last two games. I mean, I'll be honest, I'm actually surprised that they haven't tried to HD remaster those things and just resell them to them to get us ready for the next Battlefront game, just for us to wait, because I thought the last two Battlefront games were just awesome. So I'm just hoping it's just as good as the first two games, or the ones that came out on console, not the ones that came out on portable. Next three questions come from JB Summers, and you want to know, would I rather... oh, jeez. Oh, God. Here we go. Would I rather play Final Fantasy 13 and cheer while doing so, or watch Solid Snake's dick be cut off into pieces by Gray Fox? Well, Sombers, that's a very interesting question. There's no indication that Solid Snake even has a dick, since technically speaking, he is still a virgin. So he's never actually used his business. However, with Final Fantasy 13, no. I'll take death before I even touch controller connected to that. So, sorry, Snake. Even without a dick, you are still a badass to me. So, yeah, I don't think I'd mind. Your second question is, what is my favorite thing to do outside of channel, movies, and video games? Sleep. I think anyone would answer that question that way. And your last question is, what is my favorite weapon? Well, you didn't really specify whether it was movies or video games, so I'll just separate the two. In terms of movies, it would be a lightsaber, and in terms of video games, it would be the Blades of Chaos. The next question comes from Hendrix Chaplin, and you want to know, where would I rank the Dead Space games? Okay, that's interesting. Alright, I'm just going to focus on the main console ones. I'm not going to focus on that little small puzzle game that they released prior to the release of Dead Space 2. Sorry, truck just went by. I'll go with Dead Space Extraction last, Dead Space 3, Dead Space 1, and then Dead Space 2 is undoubtedly my favorite of the Dead Space series. The next two questions sorry, I'm still a little sick. Next two questions come from JDS4696, and he wants to know, in what city do I think Grand Theft Auto 6 will take place in? Well, personally, I would like to see the next Grand Theft Auto take place overseas. I mean, all the games in terms of Grand Theft Auto have always taken place somewhere in the United States, usually. So I think it would be a real serious change of tone if we actually went to other countries and stationed the Grand Theft Auto games there. Because, you know, all this chaos and Grand Theft Auto stuff, in the United States is not the only place this happens in. It does happen overseas, and you never hear about that. So I think focusing in other countries, I think, would be a real interesting twist. And you want to know, am I happy that Spider-Man is joining the Marvel Cinematic Universe? I guess... I mean, Spider-Man is my favorite individual Marvel hero, so I really am just not all that excited to see him be kind of shoehorned into the MCU, because I don't think he's needed. But I guess it makes telling the Civil War story easier. So personally, I'm not too excited about it, but I know a lot of people are. So, you know, let's just see what Disney does with Spider-Man. And now on to the man of the hour, who actually came up with the title, or inspired the title tag of this episode, as you can see, Metal Gear Fever. And all these questions are Metal Gear related. So, Corey Roloff, I hope I said that right, shout out to you. And your first question is, what is the worst / least favorite Metal Gear Solid game? Undoubtedly Metal Gear Acid. Don't like how they turned it into a card game. It felt really just all over the place. I mean, there's a lot of things that you could have done with Metal Gear, but don't turn it into a card game. Next question is, which Metal Gear Solid character do I feel deserves more recognition than he or she got? Oh, that's an easy one. Undoubtedly, I think the boss needed more recognition. A lot of people do not give the boss the credit, and in my opinion, the boss is undoubtedly the single most important character in the Metal Gear Solid franchise, more so than Big Boss or even Solid Snake, because of a lot of her philosophical ideas really set the tone of the entire franchise. So really, everything that happened throughout the franchise was done under the influence of what the boss wanted, or people's interpretation of what they thought the boss wanted for the world. So I would even be more happy if they actually made a whole game surrounding the boss, showing her development during World War II and get to see her interactions with the Cobras. I think that would be awesome. And the last question of the episode is, which Metal Gear Solid character do I feel got more recognition than he or she deserved? I don't really think there's any individual character I think got more screen time than they deserve. I mean, no one has really gotten more screen time with the Metal Gear Solid franchise more so than Big Boss and Solid Snake. And outside of that, everyone's been pretty tame. So I personally don't think, outside of Big Boss and Solid Snake, any one character has really been given too much recognition. I think if the character has been revered to the status that they're at, I think that they're in that position for a particular reason and well deserved. And with that, those are all the questions that you guys sent in for this particular episode. I'd like to thank you guys for making this episode possible. If you guys have any questions you would like me to answer on next week's episode, be sure to type them in the comments down below. Make sure you get them into me before next Wednesday, before I start filming this. And if you like this episode, feel free to like, comment down below, and please subscribe to check me my future episodes, people's questions every Friday. And like always, thank you guys for watching. You're awesome. I'll see you next time.